everybody.
Even these little children, they're 6 and 7 years old. Come sit over here, Miss Bussey, don't do this and don't do that. So I'm getting some of mine back, I guess, because I've lost children a long, long time. All the way from New Hope to Center. And I have my little basket here. And I have the man that's caused this celebration of Black history. And that was Carter G. Woodson. He named a school in Houston, Woodson. It's a high school in Houston named Woodson. And this is his picture. Don't ask me how long I've had it, because I had to go back in all of this little material and find something to bring. But this is what I have. Now, and we think about history, it has a beginning, but no ending, because every generation changes and does something different. In 1922, between 22 and 69, you know, that's a long time. Mr. Alexander and another gentleman by the name of Turner taking care of the colored high school out here on Tennessee Road, about 1 mile from Timpson. Mr. Turner left and went to Carthage, and they named that school over in Carthage, and it's still working over there during the Turner High School. But we consolidated here. They consolidated in Carthage, but the blacks kept that school, and they still call it Turner High School. And they have all kinds of meetings and so on there at Turner High School. But anyway, Timpson High School has worked. When Turner left, Mr. Alexander taken over and stayed until 1969. You know, that was a long time. And he has had young men and women to graduate from Timpson High School, gone into other cities and made a living. We have doctors, lawyers, young men in business. Of course, this is a doctor in education, but he didn't come from Timpson. But these boys that I'm talking about now, they was under Mr. Alexander in Timpson Colored School, and they make good. And Timpson's not a bad place to live. I've lived here a long time. Okay, I came back here, I got married, went to Houston, lost my husband. I came back here and got me a job working in schools here. And I was out here on 84, and I was on the left-hand side at Wilder, New Hope. And the white school was on the right-hand side. That was Wilder. And that lady that taking care of Wilder and Ruth Bussey taking care of New Hope, we had to go to Center to get our pay. Well, everybody did, because we had a county superintendent. Russell Whiteside was our county superintendent. And he had a lady by the name of Coverton. Miss Coverton was the secretary, and she was kind of a heavy lady. And when we would go down there to get our checks and get our material for school, she'd just give us a paper and say, go downstairs and get your books and whatever you needed. And we had a good thing, because we could go down there and pick out, I'm saying we, there was this lady that was over at Wilbur. We'd go down there and pick out our nice latest books, load them in our car, and going back to our school. And I had a, I don't know, 39 or 29 Chevrolet. It was about as long as this room. It was a big thing. And I bought this Chevrolet from Mr. Cazart. Mr. Cazart, that over there near that Mathis family, they lived there. And I bought this car from him. But we would load up, and she would load up and go to Will, and I'd load up and go to New Hope. Okay. Schools, elementary schools all around touched Timpson. It was 2 going west. Then when you start going to a Tenny Hall, we had Bobo down there. Then when you step off to the left, we had Buena Vista. Okay, we integrated. Mr. Pimento was the superintendent. He's not in years. And you know, he was so intelligent. And he would walk, I believe he would count his steps, because he was so intelligent and nice. He sent me, when they consolidated, and brought all of these little elementary schools in to Timpson High School. They didn't have enough room for all of us. So some of the elementary schools had to remain in the community. So that's when they sent me to Buena Vista. Okay, I still had this big long Chevrolet, and I drove from New Hope to Buena Vista. And you know where you turn off to the right, going out to Buena Vista on this farm to Market Road? That was a mud hole. Mud hole. I would turn off in that mud hole and go on to Buena Vista and go up to Solomon Hill, because that little school sitting up there on top. And it was somebody, it was a Hadbro man driving a school bus, bringing the children from Buena Vista into Timpson High School. And if I got in that mud hole first, he would pull over to the side until I made it out. If he got in it first, I stayed up on that highway until he came out with it. But we made it just the same. And he passed me, waved at me, and I see you in the morning in this mud hole. But anyway, eventually they moved the buildings to make room for us to come on Timpson campus. And they moved the white elementary school over on Timpson campus. They were big, nice rooms, had great big windows, everything. It was 3 rooms in it. Brought me out of the black Unification and all of the children and this other teacher and put us in this building that they are in from Unification. And you know, ever so often, the auditors would come around and see if we were cheating and know how we were padding the roll and doing, just telling all kind of tales on us. We wasn't doing that. But Mr. Pimenta came over. He would always come over and let us know what was happening. He came down that morning, and I had already called the roll and got started. And he wanted me to call the roll again. And it was a day just about like today. And we didn't have any lights in those buildings. Okay, and I started calling the roll. All the little cheeriness, looking, you know, what is Mr. Pimenta doing down here? They were half scared, you know. Anyway, I called the roll. So dark in that room, Mr. Pimenta couldn't see. And I had this book, and I almost knew it by heart, this little roll book, and I could see. He told me, he says, come on, let's go over here by this window. So I went over there by the window, and I held my register up, calling the roll so he could see. But the window panes had blown out of the windows. And that's where I used my bulletin board. And I had cardboards all of them down the window. And Mr. Manor, with his intelligence, said, well, why do you have all those cardboards? I said, to keep the air, the wind, and the rain out of it. He says, all right. He gave me an A for my books and my children, and he come back over here to the school and taking care of his business. He told Mr. Alexander, he said, I found everything all right. Those are just some of the things that we had to go through with. But that was a way of making your living, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And I see the little boys and girls now that I taught. And some of them remember me, but I don't remember them. When we got over there, we had integrated. And my little boys went out on the campus, the PE campus. I know there was some more little boys doing it, and they came and told me, somebody said, Miss Bussey, your little boys out there just cursed. I said, why they have to be mine? I said, some other teachers' boys out. But they yours. I went out there and called all of my little 3rd grade boys in. And this little Karen Whiteside says, it was a preacher's son up there. And I told whatever his name was, I told Marty he wasn't supposed to be cursing because his daddy was a preacher. Well, that helped. Then this man was a banker. His little boy was up there. And I told so-and-so that he wasn't supposed to be cursing because his daddy was a banker. But you know, Miss Bussey, my dad is a carpenter. I said, yes. See, he hits his finger all the time. I said, so they give you permission to curse, huh? Well, he'd be cursing. I said, okay, let's go. So my little boys out there cursing and teaching others how to curse together. But anyway, I jotted down a few things to bring. It's a time for respect. Respect what? The past. And look to the future. About 2 Sundays ago, in Sunday school, Paul said what? Forget the past and look for the future. And that's what we are doing now. We're going to forget the past, but we're going to enjoy the past. I enjoy talking about those mud holes, sure, but I don't have to go through them, though. I enjoyed that big old, what kind of car? Chevrolet car I had. But I'm glad I don't have to deal with it now. So, it says, the past is our history. And as I told you in the beginning, history has a beginning, but no ending. Because every generation comes up with something new. And we have so many new things now until I just don't, I kind of get scared sometimes something's going to happen. The nurse came to see me yesterday. Well, one comes every day. And, every week. One comes every week to check my medicine and see about, I'm getting along, how I'm progressing. But anyway, she had some pills that she wanted to cut in half. She says, oh, I believe I forgot my pill chopper. She says, do you have anything? I said, well, I got a little case knife with saws in it you can use. She said, let me look in my bag. And sure enough, she had this little old, looked like a little old plastic toy. Put it down there and cut those pills half in two. But you know, I know somebody who's been a nurse and seen it. You have to stand there with that knife and saw that little pill. But she got this little pill cut. So history is changing. And now this I wrote down here. I don't know if you want to hear it or not, but it's our history. And back to what I said about Carter G. Woodson. It's not Negro history, but it's the Negro in history. And we are growing every day and making history. Okay? It says now we will think a bit about Black history in America. Dr. Dr. G. Woodson is the father of Black history. Okay. I didn't bring the pictures of these young men because a lot of times you run into problems. But I know somebody in here knows the Ramuses out of Smith Chapel, around Rose Hill or somewhere out there they came. But his little son is in Dallas, and he has an own a Marriott hotel. So you know he's in the money. We have Rodney Robinson. Then we have several young men here in Timpson that's preachers. And they're working. And they have businesses of their own, and they're working, and they are helping us with this younger generation, which is very appreciated, and we need it. Okay, cause and when the Black history first started, it was 1 week of Black history. But now it's 1 month. Somebody gonna come up after a while and say 1 year. But we had schools in Timpson, and we had teachers and so on to take care of these children and help them, and they made good. And I couldn't find pictures of all of the little country schools, but we can pass some of them around. You know how they look. They big building, some of them painted, some of them wasn't painted, but you can see that building there. Okay. So now, you know, in teaching our children, you just have to teach them a little bit of everything. They little fellas, yes, that's all right. But we still have. I just have to tell you this one. But now this was on the president's, this paper. But I just have to tell you this one. I was teaching the children about the states. And we were putting them in alphabetical order in the 3rd grade. And so you know this little boy sitting way back there in the back, he was a W. So now you, wherever you are, if you Michigan, Arizona, you still have to make up 4 sentences from your state. And you're going to stand up and tell us about it. So this little boy back there was a W. He stood up. He says, my name is Willie. My wife is named Wilma. I live in Washington. But my occupation is selling whiskey.
Selling whiskey.
I cleared up my throat. Windows and everywhere to keep from laughing. And I let the children go ahead and get their laughing. I said, now, I can't do nothing to him because he had his 4 W's. He made his 4 sentences. Selling whiskey. Some of the children didn't even know whiskey started with a W. Well, you know, I'm always passing out papers or something. And I go out to New Hope and I'd be passing out papers at the church and souvenirs. I had one of my little cousins, he was one of my students. He said, "Poor Miss Bussey, she's still passing out papers." So, and I need somebody to pass this out for me. And these are the presidents from the very first one up to Obama now. And I wouldn't put no pictures on them because I'm just so elementary, cause I can't help it. You know, when we were going to school in college, well, here come the elementary teachers, there'd be 3 or 4 of us, and we have a little bag and baskets and everything. Well, everybody knows that's the elementary teacher. She got all them posters and things, you know. The men would sit out there in the breezeway and look at us and laugh at us. But here come the high school teacher now, and she would have one little notebook. They'd get out and help her, go help her crank her car and do. But they'd be laughing at us, these elementary teachers. Going down there to play with those children. I'm not going down there to help her, let her go. So I'm still dragging my little baskets and papers and passing them out.
Did you sit down and
Yes,
organize
ma'am.
it? She's been working.
This would be helpful to little kids today.
In 1969, 68 and 69, all the schools were one school. And so that's when we got it. And I'm through. Then I'll just leave these just in case somebody wants them.
We're gonna get your picture, but it's already did. We're gonna present you with the certificate. You wanna take this back?
Oh, this, yes, ma'am. Put that back in my little basket.
While they're doing that, I know you wouldn't believe it, but I was around when a lot of that was taking place. And she mentioned John Alexander, and when he was a young man, he worked for my granddad. And my granddad really thought a lot of him. He was really proud of him when he went on and became the black school superintendent. Mr. Bementer, I was there when he was there too. And we dumb old boys, Mr. Bementer would ask us a question, you know, and the response was usually, well, Mr. Bementer would say, yes, I'm well.
This is your certificate that we're gonna present to you, and then we're gonna have your picture made here. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put this in your basket.
He was there for you. He was there.
3, 4, 5.
Run while you can.
Run while you can.
has been a lifetime of When the World Be a Better Place. Thank you so much. All right, well, thank you, George, for such a good program. Appreciate it. Move on to our business part of our meeting now, and June has our minutes. Would you like to share those minutes with us, please?
I would.
Let me go for this.
It's a little like me. Well, I don't usually hold on to such a big. I'll hold on while I can. Oh, don't get me tickled, I never will stop. This is our January the 16th meeting. Senator Brownlow called the meeting to order, welcome members and guests to the first meeting in the new library. I think I'm going to read it. It is an exciting day for the Genealogy Heritage Society. It has taken time, money, and dedicated work to accomplish such a project. With great pride, Program Chairman Doris Wagner introduced Charlotte Bowles Broadway, a close friend and longtime resident of Timpson. Charlotte refreshed our memories by reviewing the history of Bussey Drug. She began her career in 1952 working for Mr. Frank Bussey. She learned everything you needed to know about running a drugstore. In 1968, Mr. Frank retired and sold the business to Melvin Beard. From then on, it was the new Bussey Drug. Charlotte worked from 1968 until 1984 for Melvin Beard. She's now a valued employee of the city of Timpson. At one time, Timpson was a booming little city. We had furniture stores, TV stores, repairmen, installers for TVs, and several movie theaters. We had frozen food lockers, ice house, and many car dealers, several banks, cotton buyers, and anything else you might want. Bussey Drug was well stocked with prescription drugs, farm and veterinary supplies, gifts of any kind, a fountain with all the trimmings, and a gathering place for coffee drinkers and the morning newspaper. Need to get out of town? Just catch a bus in front of Bussey Drug. Following the program, Doris Wagner presented Charlotte Broadway a certificate of appreciation. The reason I know all that, I was there all that time, also Doris. We learned a lot. President Sandra Brownlow expressed her appreciation for the program and the many guests attending our first meeting in the new library. Secretary June Mims read the minutes of the last meeting. Motion was made by Marjorie Hope to accept as read, seconded by Doris Wagner. Treasurer Tiffany Green Pike reviewed the financial report. Esther Marie Harvey moved to accept and file for audit. Ethel Moreland seconded the motion. Membership Chairman Jim Barrett reported 176 paid members. Dues are now due. The taproot was delayed because of printer problems. Drew Dickey of the Library Committee reported all the books are on the shelves, but barcodes will be changed. Volunteers are needed for Saturday. Ronnie Hughes volunteered for Thursday, and Marjorie Hope volunteered for Tuesday. Regular hours are from 10 to 5. Keith Allred donated a family history book on the Lee family. Dudley McIntyre expressed his appreciation for being president of the society for the last 2 years. We thank you, Dudley. It was a pleasure working with you. We adjourned at 3:40 p.m. Respectfully submitted, June Mims, Secretary.
Any corrections to the minutes? Motion to approve? Melinda makes a motion to approve, seconded on the back. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Minutes stand approved as read. Thank you, Jane. Tiffany also, with our financial report today, Jean's going to fill in for her. And so let her give you a report about Tiffany and her mom also, along with the...
Thank you. Well, Charlotte, not Charlotte, I guess, my close friends mixed up. Tiffany Ann is sorry she's not here today, and especially with the treasury report, but she has been in the hospital with her mother all week. And last night put her mother in the Garrison Nursing Home. But we'll catch up next time on our detailed review of our financial.
I'm sure if there's anybody that has any questions, Tiffany's always, you know, she does a terrific job with every single penny and half penny. So, we can catch up on that next time. Thank you, June, very much. And we hope everything goes along well with her too. Sometimes when it rains, it pours, and we've just kind of been in that cycle lately. So maybe March will bring us some sunshine with a lot of good news for everybody. All right, is there any old business that we need to take up? I know of none. Does anybody else? All right, let's move right along to new business. I believe we have Colleen Doggett here to make a presentation. Would you like to
Yes, I'll just
come on up and
I'm chairman of the Shelby County Historical Commission, of which Sandra Brownlow has been a member for a long time and has served as marker and cemetery chairperson. So on behalf of the Shelby County Historical Commission, I'm presenting this check for $50 in memory of Mr. Bush for the Timpson Genealogy Library.
how very thoughtful comment. Thank you so very much. Sandra, well, it's a memorial, whatever. Well,
No.
you know, it's a memorial. I think that's all we need. Okay. Thank you so much, Colleen. Does anybody else have any other new business? Anybody know of anything that we need to take care of besides enjoying the beautiful surroundings? And it looks like our chair issues, if we continue to grow, we're gonna have to figure out something about chairs, but we can do that.
Come
Jim.
late, and you get
Come
your
late, you
chair.
get your own. How about committee reports? Jim, do you have a committee
I
report?
do. On our membership, now that 170, that was last year's membership. As of this year, we have 109 so far. For anybody that hadn't paid their dues, I have my hand out. We've got a whole stack of applications. So we'll be glad to have it.
Have you kept track, do you know whether most of those that, from last year to this year that you haven't heard from are out of town?
Don't have a clue,
Don't have a clue.
really.
Okay.
I do know that it's very customary. I'll send out a letter in March about this time to remind people that haven't renewed that it's time to do it. And we always have a lot of our members that wait until they get that letter and charge us that postage to send in their dues. So save us some money and pay in advance, avoid the rush.
Do you know somebody that, somebody that hasn't joined that would like to? All the membership, it's just a one little page thing to fill out, and they're in the genealogy library.
They're right here.
And Jim's gonna say, oh, I'm sorry, you brought them over here. Okay. All right,
I would like to make,
How much are your dues?
the dues are $15 per person or $25 for a couple.
15
And
per person,
that's for
25.
all year, and you get 4 newsletters. And we try to have those come out, starting in April will be the first one, and then every 3 months we'll have one. We were a little bit late on this last one. I am very glad to report that we have a new printer, and I thought the pictures that were in there came out very good. The printer really did a good job. Spent a lot of money, but we had to do something.
When you, no, that's true, but when you add up the cost of, we did that one day, if you were to take that publication to, a copying service or something like that, compare that cost with what we can do with this printer, it's.
I called Staples and to print our last newsletter, to only print 30 copies. And we normally print about 180. But to print 30 copies, just so we would have them to hand out in the meeting, was going to cost us $700.
So you're talking about, that's for, yeah, for one printing.
That's been for part, you know,
Then you gotta add postage, and so, for the membership, it helps to cover some of those costs. It doesn't get them all, but that's, you know, Jim's done an excellent job of keeping those costs, so we appreciate it very, very much.
we are needing a volunteer to do the obituaries for us, so we can keep our books current. And a person could come by up here Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning and pick up the obituaries. They're cut out, ready for somebody to work. You can take them home and put them on a flash drive or something, and then bring them back up here by the next Monday. It would really be a help to us.
Does everybody know